Not one, but two former Manchester United greats praising Manchester United and Ineos and the work going on behind the scenes. So I'm going to ask the question tonight. Are Manchester United actually improving under Ineos' reign? Get into the comments if you're live with me. Get into the comments if you're catching up later on. We are slightly earlier tonight, so of course, apologies for that, but do pile in later on with your comments and let me know. Are United improving? I've got a poll running right now on that. We'll get into that as the show goes on as well. Also, on top of that, we've got other news this evening as well. Going to bring you up to date with the futures of Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro at Manchester United, as well as more talk of new midfielders comes in. Yes, Hillman and that man, Job Bellingham, is in the headlines again. Do we want to go near a so-called problem? Is the topic on that one right now. All of your thoughts along in the live chat as well as we get through everything here on Forever United TV. Welcome along to the Monday evening show. I am still walking around with a strut in my stride. Is that right? Actually, I'm still walking around. I'm strutting around with a confidence about me right now that my team is going in the right direction. Oh. Are we jumping the gun again? Get in there and let me know what you're thinking, everybody, because this is intriguing, because I'm talking about things that have been said and it's hard to disagree. So I'm going to put it to you what Roy Keane and Wayne Rooney have both come out with today regarding Manchester United and how things are actually being run now at this football club. I'll start with Wayne Rooney's one first of all, because he always does his podcast. It comes out on the Monday and we all listen to it intriguingly. He's got a lot to say and he's getting better at it. His opinions are definitely, I think, near enough bang on point with everything that he gets to. He's got Manchester United at his heart. He's got his kids playing for the football club. He loves the football club and he's been very passionate with his opinion about Manchester United. So you listen to people like that, particularly ones that have such an impact on Manchester United and upholding the standards that Sir Alex Ferguson, bless him, was in the stands sharing his mints with Kenny Dalglish yesterday. And did you notice one of the Glazers sat in front of him as well? The unheard of Glazer brother sat in front. I can't even remember his bleeding name now. He's that pointless. But yep, sneaking into Anfield there in front of Sir Alex Ferguson in the stands. Oh, gotta love that guy. Ferguson celebrating in the stands with everyone else sat down. That was brilliant. If you haven't seen that video on social media, go look it up. Fergie celebrating at Anfield. Gold. Anyway, so Wayne Rooney speaking about Manchester United, and he's come up with, and I want to get your thoughts on this, so get into the live chat, everybody. I want to get your thoughts on Wayne Rooney's opinion on the way that Sir Jim Ratcliffe handled the Ruben Amorim situation, the 3 years, the full backing, the coming right out and telling it to the camera that he isn't going anywhere. He needs to be given time, and we cannot run Manchester United on knee-jerk reactions. Now, as we know, we talked about that aplenty through international break, because that's when that podcast, the business podcast, went down, and it did spark a big debate. But Manchester United since then have gone on and beaten Liverpool when they first came back, and it looks like that was a very confident, bold statement, and it looks like Sir Jim Ratcliffe has been proved right in a way. Obviously, I've said this all along, no matter what he said, no matter how bullish the opinion, no matter how controversial it is, all that matters is winning games. And if United are winning games, anything anybody says in the public eye or on podcast or in the media looks 20 times different depending on what they've said and whether it matches the results that are happening on the pitch for Manchester United. I'm keeping Ruben. He needs to be given time. He needs time to prove that he's a great coach. Quotes from Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Bang. 2 wins in a row for the first time under his tenure at Manchester United, and United are looking up. The confidence is up in the players. All of the players are talking about Ruben Amorim. They're all coming out and speaking on camera about what he's doing, learning under him. Matthews Cunha with some interesting quotes there today as well. It's taking time. Senna Lamon's impressed by Ruben Amorim and what he is doing around Manchester United in protecting certain players and taking the flak for players in the football club. They absolutely do believe in this manager, and it's starting to pay off. Whether or not we continue on this run, there are better teams out there still, I feel, in the Premier League, and I don't think it's going to be as easy as what we've seen the last few weeks with United getting decent results against the likes of Sunderland and Liverpool. But Wayne Rooney saying that the way that Sir Jim Ratcliffe approach that was exactly the way that it should have been done. It gave none of the players any excuse. It gave none of the players any fuel to say that this is just going to be another manager that goes by the by. If they know that that Ruben Amorim is staying and Sir Jim Ratcliffe isn't getting rid of him, then they have to knuckle down. They have to train, work, listen, and adapt their game to the new system and the new formation that Ruben's playing. And there's no way out of it. Zero way out of it for any player. So Wayne Rooney's actually praising the ownership coming out. Because let's not forget, what we have always said is this manager, Ruben Amorim, that being, has got a football structure behind him. And this is not like it used to be. It's not Keystone Cop running of a football club. It's not scattergun all over the place. Bankers running a football club, making football decisions they have got no education or qualifications to do. This is where Manchester United are at right now. You've got Jason Wilcox and Omar Baradov, and they're stood there going, he's not going anywhere. So Jim Ratcliffe said he's not going anywhere. We're all in the same opinion, and we're going to back him no matter what. It's going to get to a point, and Ruben said it in his presser yesterday as well, United need to get Europe. So Ruben knows his head is still on the block. And if United don't get European football, then it could still be crunch time and a decision made. By the way, quickly, just for the people and the I won't call them nuts, it's a bit harsh because everybody's obviously looking for their moment as well. Anybody who's come back at me today in the comment sections is saying, Adam, you wanted Ruben out weeks ago. I never said that. You can look back on what I've said about Ruben Amorim. I don't want the manager to go. Nobody wants him to go, but we're seeing this same movie. We're talking about the same subjects and the same scenarios again, and everybody's saying the same thing. Inevitably, he will get sacked. Not wanting to get him sacked. Nobody wants him to be sacked because nobody wants a manager to go because it means that you're doing crap. Inside, you feel like it's inevitable. That's what it is. So there's no side to pick. There is no Ruben in or Ruben out. I did this with Ten Hag before. I didn't like him. I really didn't. And I didn't think he was right for the football club. And I thought the decision would come ultimately the way it did anyway. So, yeah, for them people, settle down. Come on. Stop trying to get that ridiculous response that you're never going to get because Ruben is here. We want him to do well, and at the moment he's turning it around slowly. Is it enough for you though? I have put that poll up in the live chat right now, and if you are catching up later on and watching the show, then do get involved in it as well. Have Manchester United improved this season? I've been very specific about this season because it's off the back of our worst ever season last time out, finishing 15th, for God's sake. Embarrassing. So you've got three options. Yes, things are on the up. No, just as bad as last season. And I'm on the fence still. You need more convincing. 70% of you have said that Manchester United are on the up. And this is moving in the right direction now. And this is what Wayne Rooney is saying. You've got ownership, structured people, football people in at Manchester United who are coming out and are giving the players no room whatsoever to respond or to react to any speculation, news or anything or talk of a manager possibly losing his job. He's been fully backed. Get on with it. He's not moving and you're going to have to deal with it. And that's what Wayne Rooney's saying. And this is coming from a former Manchester United player and a professional player at the highest level. And I'm guessing this is probably what he was thinking when he was in at Manchester United, or Everton in fact, probably more Manchester United in his maturer years. But if you know that the manager's going to stay, then there's no other option for you than to listen, knuckle down and get on with it. Obviously it's different if you are getting word that this manager's on his way. It usually ends up going one way, but because Ineos have been so adamant and on it that he isn't going anywhere, it has forced Manchester United players to either do one, which we've seen, or knuckle down and get on with it, which they're doing, because there isn't one man, whether you like the quality of the player or not, it doesn't matter. There isn't one man on that pitch for Manchester United wearing that shirt that isn't giving absolutely everything for Ruben Amorim. They all are. You cannot even argue against it. It's there for everybody to see. They want to succeed under Ruben. And that, I think, is the big thing in all of this. I'm going to move on to the next topic as well. Not the next topic, but it's a similar one, but it's a different angle on it. But first of all, I want to get into the comment section and see what you're all saying on this one. So please get in there and give me your thoughts, everybody. Keep voting on that poll as well, everyone. It is important to gauge where everyone's at, and at the moment it's very, very positive. MA says, I need to see yours on 70 to 75 points at the end of the season before I make any judgments. Well, you kind of had made a judgment there, mate, in that you think Manchester United need to be in the Champions League this season, because that's what 70 to 75 points will get us. So really, we're looking at Europa League. That's not good enough for you, MA, then, I'm guessing. Nothing wrong with that, by the way. Is that just where you're at? Please do a bit more context to it. I'll back you on that, Adam. We had a talk about it on Big Up on Sunday. Well, you did, mate. You did, Rodders, buddy. We need some versatility in the midfield too. That's the message. Amorim in after one win at Liverpool. What about the other 49 games of failure? Well, this is it we're looking at this season, Cal. And that's why I made the point of putting that in the poll. So, when you're looking at it, are we better than we was last season? The obvious answer, in performance, yes. On paper, yes. And, of course, you have to look at that in a way of what Manchester United has done through Ineos in moving players on and getting players in. Now, we're going to move on to that section next, but quickly, a few more comments first of all. If you can get that effect out of players versus smaller teams, then we might be on to something. I'm not convinced till then. Smaller teams as in Sunderland, Burnley, these teams. I'm just guessing. Look, I know I'm just winding you up a little bit there, mate. But look, we are winning some of the smaller teams as well. Look, Ruben said it after the game, didn't he? He said that's for Brentford, that's for Grimsby, that's for the fans, that one. The people that have followed Manchester United have been completely let down by these players. That's it. 2 weeks time, we saying Amorim out again. You heard it here first. Carl, he's on an absolute doom and gloom fest today. Carl, mate, come on. I need to give you a little bit of a pick-me-up, don't I, mate? I do. Adam, I called it about Maguire in the Big Up. He did, Pete. Ineos, I'm with Amorim, still needs to convince me. Brighton beat us and beat us badly every season. They totally play us off the park every time we play them. So if we win at Old Trafford at weekend and it's not a lucky win, then I'll change my mind. Was it not lucky yesterday, though? Liverpool and Ruben did talk about getting that little bit of luck, and you need a little bit of luck in the Premier League. You cannot just play your way through it. Some things do need to fall your way also. And so, yeah. Graham is in with his super chat. He says, clearly United has improved with Cunha, Sesko, Lamens and Brian Mbumo integrated, but its significance isn't seismic. Well, let's talk about that, because Roy Keane is the other legend that Manchester United that has been talking about Manchester United improving, and he's crediting the recruitment team of Manchester United. He's talking about the players that have been brought in. He's praising the Cunhas, the Mbumos, the Lamens, the Seskos of this world. Manchester United's 4 big signings this summer have really shone for Manchester United and played a huge part in turning what has been of this season already around. Now, 4 wins out of 8. It's still not mind-blowing. It's still not massively convincing, but it is a damn lot better than what it was last season at this same point. So United are up in the league. It would still be nice to be into a certain significant amount of games and be in a positive goal difference. Maybe this weekend, maybe we break the trend of Brighton beating us. We've beaten the trend of Liverpool, never winning there. Maybe this weekend we break that Brighton trend as well and we beat them at Old Trafford. Then 3 games in a row and you're looking about as good as everybody else so far this season at some point, aren't you, with that amount of wins in a row. So you really are talking then. And I get it, a lot of people want to see us win at home against that mid-table side. It doesn't get more mid-table than Brighton in 10th. And the team that has always done us. Look, we're right there with them. 9th and 10th it is this weekend in them two. And in both the teams, sorry. And it's going to be... I don't know how it's going to go, actually. I'm kind of guessing at the moment, because there is a little bit more confidence in me within Manchester United than the way we've performed the last 2 games. Obviously, we look better defensively, which is a massive plus point, because that defending against Brentford is just not acceptable. But to concede 1 goal against Sunderland and Liverpool, I think that is showing improvement. Bagging 4 goals in the process as well, definitely and more improvement there. Also, if we can do the same against Brighton, not give chances away too easily, maybe concede 1 or even get a clean sheet and win the game, then you really are talking positively. But Roy Keane's position on this was praising the recruitment team for the players that we've brought in. Manchester United have bought well. They've brought incredibly well. The vast difference in United to Liverpool and the signings that they have made, the money that's been spent, nobody wants to talk about it because they all want Manchester United's doom and gloom. They want United to be bad. And when you look at them signings United have made, are just over 200 million compared to Liverpool's 450 million plus, over half the money spent. I know Liverpool have spent it over 2 transfer windows, last summer and this summer, and they've won a league title, and we're nowhere near challenging for a title. I get all of that. Well, this is why I'm specifically channeling this into just this season. This season, Manchester United are definitely a better side, 100%. The results are better, definitely better. The goal difference is right up there right now with Manchester United as well in terms of the goals we've scored. We're scoring more and we're conceding less. Yes, we've had them 2 big blips, which have been City and Brentford away. But past that, United have actually been reasonable at the back. We haven't conceded many. But there's always that big game that blows us. The one thing I would like to see from United is, of course, the goals. More goals going in. Let's get right up there and score a few more goals. And get 3 or 4 in a game for once. That would be nice. We'll see if that comes anyway. But I think what Roy Keane is mentioning there is the fact that there is change at Manchester United. It feels different. This time, it does feel like there is a real bit of momentum with what we've brought in. And the fact that every single one of them signings are starters in this 11 is where it's different. Because the seasons before, you're looking at players that are not really fully prepared and ready. United, yeah, they took the time with bringing Lamens through. They took the time with bringing Sesko onto the pitch. But Sesko starts for me, Lamens starts for me, Cunha and Bumo, they're all players that you would expect to be in Man United starting 11. And that recruitment was key for Manchester United. The experience in Cunha and in Bumo cannot be ignored. That is a huge difference for this football club because the quality of them two and what part they played in that game yesterday was massive for Manchester United. Absolutely huge. And it cannot go unrecognised. We just didn't have that last season. And Ruben did talk about this. So this is where you start to think, right, okay, Ruben knows that these players will help him in these awkward situations. It took a bit of time. And like I said before, Cunha has been out talking today about how difficult it is at Manchester United, about how much time it's taken him to get into a certain position and changing his game slightly under Ruben Amorim. So he's aware of it and it takes time for these players to gel. But I say this right now, Man United's new players are gelling better, I feel, and quicker than other clubs' new players. Look at Newcastle and where they're at right now. Look at Aston Villa. Look at Liverpool's form right now. Look at Chelsea. Garnacho, I mean, Chelsea bought so many players. It's hard to even judge who's new and who's not in their side. But Garnacho being hauled off at half-time because he just not got the right mentality or work ethic. That tells you what we had last season. And now we haven't. We've got better. Luckily for Chelsea, they've got, like I said, so many signings that they can bin Garnacho and bring somebody else on who's willing to prove a point. So that's what I'm trying to say here. And I think Roy Keane and Wayne Rooney have nailed this here. Both of them are right. That Manchester United under Ineos, whether you like the decision-making, what Wayne Rooney said about dealing with the manager situation and just being fully committed and it not changing. And then you've got the Roy Keane and the recruitment side of things. They've brought proper players into Manchester United. And that is something we just haven't seen and are not used to as a Man United fan base. We're not, are we? So, yeah, I think both of them are bang on point, and I do believe that Manchester United are moving in the right direction with them players. I just have a little bit more confidence with the likes of Cunha and Bumo and Sesko and Lamens. And I like the fact that we have got De Ligt playing brilliantly as well. And I still cannot believe that Luke Shaw is still playing and he's not injured again yet. It's ridiculous right now that the man is still playing. And Mason Mount's available nearly every single game as well. There is something different. There has been a change at Manchester United, whether you like to admit it or not, whether you like Ruben or not, if you like Ineos or not, certain players or not. You cannot ignore what's in front of you. Compared to last season, this is a different Manchester United side. And it is, whether you want to admit it or not, it is because of Ineos. and what they have done and put in place. Because I don't think we would have been anywhere near where we are if we didn't have this structure in place either. And I've said this before, and you've all heard me say it. Wait till that academy starts to come through as well with what they're doing behind the scenes with that. Let's see. Okay. Right, comment section, everybody. Let's have a quick look at the poll first of all, actually. Have Manchester United improved this season? Yes, things are on the up. No, just as bad as last season. I'm on the fence still. 29% of you still on the fence. 67% of you are actually in and saying things are on the up. Things are better. No, just as bad as last season, 4%. Who is that 4%, by the way? Who is saying that? Really? 4% of you think that he's just as bad as last season. Are you for real right now? I need to turn my heater off. Bear with me a second. Chair nearly went over then as well. Whoa! God, it's getting warm. Toasty. Right, comment section. Let's go. I hope Sesko starts against Brighton. I think he will, actually. I think he will. Let's be honest. Sir Harry Maguire deserves a statue. Of course, I don't want Mount injured, but for me, he's a bench player. So people debating Mason Mount in the chat there as well. I mean, that's something that, again, for me, shows that we've moved forward. We're debating Mason Mount now. He's fit, whereas before he wasn't fit. He's a quality of player that we think can do a real job for Manchester United. But we're actually debating within ourselves now, within Manchester United fans, about whether Mason Mount's a starter or not, because you've got, Mbeumo and Cunha and Sesko and Ahmad. And do you know what I mean? This is where we're at now. We're discussing quality of player. And if Mason Mount is stuck on the bench because Cunha and Mbeumo are smashing it, I'm taking that all day long. Oh, give me that every single weekend, please. And that is massively different, because this was a man that was in England's squad. This was a man that was smashing it for Chelsea back in the day as well. And he's still got it. He's still in his mid-20s. And if I've got a Mason Mount coming off the bench, then I'm a happy Man United player. That's the type of squad depth that United haven't had for a long time. You could be going from a Garnacho coming off to Anthony coming on. You could be going from Højlund coming off to Xerxes coming on. No disrespect to Xerxes, but you see where I'm going with this here. Now you've got Mbeumo, you've got Cunha, you've got Mount, you've got Ahmad if necessary, Bruno if necessary, Mainu if necessary in that number 10 role. Yes, we probably need another striker on top of Benjamin Sesko, but yesterday we've seen Cunha start the game in number 9 and cause all sorts of problems. So there is a way that you could work this, and it's going to be different for every single game, of course, and it's easy to play a certain way against the Liverpool side who you're expected to lose against. The questions will come at weekend. We were discussing that this morning. United are expected to win against Brighton, so how do they approach it? Brighton are a different kettle of fish altogether. Bexy says, Ineos are great. People are sleeping on them. Telling Sir Alex Ferguson ambassador role is no longer needed. Is based $2 million a year. Right, it was $2 million a year. It's just nice to have had a great weekend and coming a week on the back of a win. Yes, it is. Thanks for that, Stephen. And Bexy on them comments. Compost Smurf says, I don't want Mount injured. He runs for the manager. We need options, squad depth. That's it. Again says, I think Amorim will save himself until the end of his contract. I am still uncertain that Amorim is the right guy. Please, no more Maguire. If Mount is a bench player, then Bruno is. Mount is better. No more Maguire. You can't really say that after yesterday. Look, I've got my opinion. I think it would be great for Harry Maguire to sail off into the sunset on a high at Manchester United. I do think certain decisions like that need to be made. But that does indeed take us into the next topic, actually, which is a story from Football Insider, which is about Casemiro looking at a new contract. This conversation goes one way, then the other. Until the end of the season, we're never going to know, is what I say with Casemiro right now. I can ask the comment section. I mean, he was all right yesterday. I don't think there'll be anybody jumping to try and keep Casemiro at Manchester United, though. And that's where I am with Harry Maguire as well. I love him. I love what he did yesterday. Am I thinking Maguire's the future? No, I'm not. I'm not. I would rather someone else move forward. I'd rather have a plan. I'd rather be looking towards the future. That's been my point all along. I've nothing against him whatsoever. And what he did yesterday is legendary status. Again, if you do that against Liverpool, you're always going to be an absolute legend for Manchester United. Look at Diego Forlan, for instance. Cult hero. And Harry Maguire will go down in that bracket. He's a goal scorer of crucial goals for Manchester United, and he has got a knack for it. Look, I don't know many centre-backs that have gone through 6 years of Manchester United scoring the amount of last-minute injury-time goals as Harry Maguire has. It's ridiculous. It is. Look, he scored at Anfield. He scored at Ellen Road. Like, just keep doing that until your contract is up. And then we move forward. We have to evolve as a football club. That's always been my problem. Casemiro, I don't even think he's in the conversation, but the report is that he is actually open and talking about a incredibly reduced contract. And it would have to be significant considering he's on just under 350 grand a week wage. For him to stay, is desperate the right word, I'm saying right now. We're not going to get any money for him. If Casemiro comes to Manchester United and says, I want to be a squad player. I love Manchester. I want to be on 100 grand a week wages and I will come in and play 20, 25 games a season for you. Would you take Casemiro? But on top of that, United also buy 2 more midfielders. Would you go for it? Would you keep the older players? And this is the same for Harry Maguire. We've had this conversation before. I wouldn't. I would move forward. I want to see some of Manchester United's academy players. And I've said this all along. Casemiro and Maguire stop academy players coming through. Not purposely. I just feel like the manager will be torn because they're there. And they've had such an important role. So rather than getting around the issue of them not being there, they just keep them there. That's just not productive for me. I would rather see a Jimmy Thwaites come into midfield. I would rather see a Kakonke come through from the academy and maybe fill that void at centre-back, or maybe a younger one come in. Look, we had 3 centre-backs sat on the bench yesterday in Yoro Heaven and Mazraoui. Well, Mazraoui can play centre-back, but obviously he is by trade a full-back. But in a back 3, he's a good centre-back. So you still had 3 sat there, and you still got Leacher to come back on top of them 3 that were sat on the bleeding bench. I think we're okay in letting Harry go and maybe integrating a new academy player in. It's the same with Casemiro. Let somebody else come through, and we will buy another couple of players as well. So, yeah, that's my angle on it. I mean, you can agree, you can disagree. It's completely up to you. Everyone's got an opinion on the older players. Some think we need them. Some think that it's time to move on. The experience is key. They're blocking the academy like I think. There is a load of different ways you can look at it. Anthony Ong says, Harry Diwali to the Hindu United fans. Glory, glory, Manchester United. Alessandro Martinez, our new DM. No, Mr. Anonymous, I wouldn't go there. Again, a round peg in a square hole. I'd rather buy an out-and-out midfielder. I hate the fact Cunha seems to be, at the moment, a squad player. He is literally our most talented footballer. Cunha's football IQ is ridiculous. I agree with Ginge on that. His football IQ is immense. And what that man did yesterday will go unnoticed and unrecognised to the... I'm going to say the average fan because I don't want to disrespect him. Everyone watches football in their own way, but you get what I mean. Like, everyone will look at the Harry Maguires. But I don't know if you've seen the video. So MUTV have leaked a video of all of the players arriving at Carrington today. Obviously, everyone's happy. Hello, everyone. And each individual player, as he walks through Carrington, is asked by an MUTV presenter while being filmed, how are you feeling? And do you have a man of the match for yesterday's game? Feeling fantastic, brilliant, epic. Coffee tastes good this morning. There's loads of different comments coming in. But when it came to the man of the match, Harry Maguire, Harry Maguire, Harry Maguire, Harry Maguire, Harry Maguire. There was one man that was different to everybody else. And that was Bruno Fernandes. And he went through a whole team, pretty much, in his description. He said everybody. But he was the one that picked out Matheus Cunha. He was massive in that game yesterday. Bruno Fernandes said. If you haven't seen the video, I'm sure if you're on social media, you will see it eventually. but everybody was giving one man. It was the obvious. And this is what I mean. People who love football would have seen what Cunha did yesterday. The football purists, as you say, would have seen Cunha's role in that team yesterday and gone and stood up and give him a round of applause. He was ridiculous. And he has got a quality, I think, that Manchester United have been missing for a decade. Where has this man been? He is, I think, and it's hard for me to liken him to an old Manchester United player, but he has got the tenacity of a Wayne Rooney. He snaps into tackles. He isn't a Wayne Rooney. He isn't as quick or as good as a Wayne Rooney, but that's what he reminds me of in the way he plays. He never gives up. Never gives up on anything. He's tenacious. He's aggressive. He is composed. He is lethal. Honestly, fantastic. And in fact, I think it was Troy Deeney on Match of the Day too that made a big point about Cunha as well. But interesting how Bruno picked up on what happened with Cunha. And obviously, Amorim has been talking about him as well. What a signing he has been. We need a top DM in there. Prime. Who is that prime DM? Are United going to get that this summer? Because it's not going to happen this January, but we are going to talk about that in a minute, actually. Spot on, Adam. Cunha is class. Yeah, Nico, brilliant. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous, he is. Do you think Ruben should change the formation? Yeah, I do. I think he needs to keep on adapting it per game. If he's going to change his team and he's going to change his players and his starting lineup, I do think he needs to adapt it. You cannot play the way we played against Liverpool, against Brighton. That's the point I was bringing up. He needs to be adaptable, and that's all we've asked for, because I do believe the players are playing for him, and it's all going to come down to results. Because yesterday we seen it again. We seen De Ligt stepping forward into midfield several times and high, and you would think that would be suicide because he hasn't got the pace to get back. But that's the difference. When you fill your team with confidence and you have got players stepping forward you wouldn't expect them to step forward, then they believe in what they're doing. Their teammates already know and are drilled into this system. And this is why I always said, and I said this morning, I don't want to repeat myself too much, but this is why I said Manchester United should be aiming for top 4. Because if they don't get what Ruben Amorim wants in a season where you've got no midweek games and loads of preparation time, then there's no hope. The minimum is 5th, 6th Europa League this season, or it is a disaster for Manchester United. And I've said that, and I've continuously said it. I have been nervous, and he's really tested my nerves, and there's a long way to go yet. And I could be still talking in a few months' time, few weeks' time, about United being awful again. I get it, I do. But I am seeing obvious changes, and you cannot deny that there have been under Ineos. There have. Greenwood, a super chat, says, what if keeping Maguire and Casemiro allowed a budget to sign real quality in targeted areas? Would you be forced into playing Casemiro is my only worry. Would you feel like you needed to play him? That's the point I'm trying to make, I think. I get what Graham's saying. I get it. Say, for instance, you didn't need to go out and buy another centre-back because Harry Maguire's happy to be on reduced wages and sit there as a bit part player, like he is now. Like, he starts, he doesn't start. He's not a guaranteed starter. But not needing to buy a centre-back for a couple of years because he's happy doing that. And like I said before, we have got an abundance of centre-backs at Manchester United anyway. If that helps you, then prioritise another signing. Maybe. That is the right way to go. Casemiro would have to be a bench player because you still need 2 more midfielders to come in. If Casemiro stays, then it's pointless keeping Manuel Ugarte. That's what I would say. It's one or the other, because I think United will bring in a 6 and an 8, and we can only keep one of. So if Casemiro stays, I think it's the end of Manuel Ugarte. That would be my opinion on that anyway. Let me know what you think about that one, everybody. Is Baleba going to play out of his skin on Saturday to force his move? I'd pray not. I really do. I still don't see top 4 due to the midfield. Now, in January, Manchester United could sign a midfielder. Just on that, by the way, Manchester United are still going to try and get a midfielder. You can see the story going across the bottom of your screen there. Morten Hjulmand, again, his name has come up. Manchester United feel that they can get the midfielder for the 50 million mark, 20 million cheaper than the asking price of Sporting at the moment. That United apparently feel comfortable and feel like they can get that deal done, get the player in. I wouldn't be rushing. I won't be going out of my way to get Hjulmand into Manchester United. I think there are other options out there. In terms of January, that would still be a very difficult transfer for Man United to make. And if we didn't buy a midfielder in January, going into the summer, Hjulmand would be probably 5th or 6th on my options list. So I don't see that being a starter. I really don't. And it's going to be that way, I think, going through the rest of this season into the January transfer window. I just don't think the options are there for Manchester United. Now, the fallout between Job Bellingham's dad and directors at Borussia Dortmund is now getting to a point where it looks like he has to leave. Now, we're not just saying that. He's now being I don't think he's being booed, but he dropped another error this weekend. The fans are now having a go at him and coming down on him as well. It's not going well for Joe Bellingham. No matter what people say or how much he tries, it is looking like it's a thankless task for him over there. And obviously Job is going to be spoken about come January, because this is a move that could really happen. And don't be surprised if Manchester United, who do like Joe Bellingham, try and make something happen. I don't know if it would be a loan. We've discussed it before, obviously. We talk a lot about Joe Bellingham. It hasn't been a good time. A lot of people's the general consensus and a lot of people's opinions on Joe Bellingham when we did a specific video and show on him was that they don't want the baggage. They don't want the trouble. His dad seems to have quite a lot to say for himself, and we don't want any of that. We don't. Talking about transfers, talking about Manchester United making money, how about another big chunk of 100% profits? You would have noticed there is an absolute baller over in France right now who is having another awesome season, and that is Mason Greenwood. Now, Barcelona are sniffing, and Manchester United are set to pocket a decent bit of pocket change out of this Mason Greenwood deal. And the story is going around again that Barcelona would like to reunite Mason Greenwood and Marcus Rashford. That sends shivers down my spine instantly. I don't want to go into detail for obvious reasons, but whoa, can you imagine? That would be scary in so many different ways on and off the pitch. But Greenwood's value is just skyrocketing at the moment. 4 goals at weekend for Marseille. He is smashing it in Ligue 1 like he did last season. He was joint leading goal scorer with Ballon d'Or winner Dembele, for God's sake. So his value at the moment is approximately 70 million. That's what it's going to take to get him out. And that could go north of 70 as well. So the story is saying, obviously, Manchester United make 50% off any profit made off the original transfer from United to Marseille. So 27.5 million, I think, something like that. So let's just round it off to 30 million. If Barcelona sign Mason Greenwood for 60 million quid, then Manchester United stand to make another 15 million because it's half of 30 million. So 30 million profit on top of the original transfer from United to Marseille is, if it is 60 million to Barcelona, 30 million, United get half of that, 15. So if the price goes up and up, you just keep on adding the pounds and the dollars to the price and what Man United will get. If he continues in the form that he's in, on the age that he is, then you are talking Manchester United earning, I would say, a minimum 20 to 25 million out of Mason Greenwood. And that, again, would be 100% profit for Manchester United, even on that sell-on clause that they have got in place. Now, that, again, would be Manchester United. That would be a record sale overall for a Manchester United Academy graduate. It would be a record sale for a player from Manchester United. since Cristiano Ronaldo, because it would total up over 50, maybe even 60 million pounds worth of value to Manchester United. And that is being spoken about at the moment. I don't think Mason Greenwood is going to stay at Marseille past this season. So coming to the summer and the importance of Manchester United getting into Europe and then having the benefit of a lesser wage bill because of players that we are looking to move on. And obviously we've got all of the loan triggered buy options creeping in as well. Rasmus, Rashford. Obviously you're going to get rid of the likes of Malacia. Also, Casemiro should go as well. Tom Eaton, all of these wages. Manchester United, a squad to ratio rule, PSR, that's coming in. If you're selling the likes of Rashford and Rasmus and Greenwood's going on top of that, Manchester United could have already going into this summer approximately 90 million plus in transfer fees coming in. If you had Rashford, Rasmus and Mason Greenwood together, the wages of Rasmus and Rashford off the books like they are now because of the loans, but still, you get where I'm going with it. European football, more gate receipts, that profitability factor that Sir Jim Ratcliffe is talking about, all of a sudden starts to look like it is a real deal and you can actually make this happen. And there is a chance that you could actually see some serious money coming in to Manchester United. So that's the story on Mason Greenwood as well, and what's actually happening with him. Keep an eye on that one. He isn't going to stay at Marseille. He will be sold, and if he carries on going, the more money Man United will make. It will be 100% profit in the region of 20 to 25 million is my guess at the moment with the figures that are going around. On top of Marcus Rashford's money, United will be seeing coming in, if everything that's been reported now actually does happen, well over £50 million worth of pure profit again to start the window. So you can see where this does really benefit Manchester United. But that's a story going around there. The Joe Bellingham, Hjulmand, we will see. I can't see Hjulmand happening. I don't know about Joe Bellingham. Honestly, don't think that's going to work for United, but Ruben does like him. The Greenwood story for the end of the season, and it all is dependent on the rest of his season. It is still early days, but I don't see the man. If he continues and has a better season than last season, you're talking a £70 million player there, guaranteed. Marseille will not sell him for anything less than that. And that for Manchester United is, well, you only have to do the sums. That's 20 million plus in revenue coming in for Man United. Pure profit ones as well, which are the nice juicy ones for this football club right now. But they have got things moving in Ineos, and they have positioned themselves behind the scenes with some really good situations regarding this summer coming, and United will be able to spend. So again, football structure, people in place that know what they're doing do make a difference. They really do. So, yeah, that, again, is something that needs to be looked at and talked about with Ineos. By the way, Bruno Fernandes is not going to Bayern Munich. Christian Folks has come out and completely killed that conversation off. There is no interest at all because they don't need him. They're expecting, obviously, Musiala to come back from injury, and he is the future of the football club, and they don't want to buy Bruno Fernandes. So that story has been completely binned off. And that, I think, is probably good news for United in a few different ways. Some Man United fans might be upset because they don't want to see Bruno Fernandes continue. Reality is, we keep Bruno. Still, I think the best deal that we could get if we sold him is to Saudi. And if there's no Bayern Munich coming in, Saudi's the only option. So we do decide to get rid of him. He's going to get more money from Man United anyway, because Bayern Munich are never going to pay what the Saudis are going to pay. So that reality is one that I think suits United better going forward. Let's get a few more comments in on this. We have got a couple more things to talk about. So please do pile in as well, everybody. I've gone through quite a bit of news there. So if I've missed your comments, please do get in there now. And of course, make sure that you are commenting and getting involved. If you are playing catch up and you haven't watched the video live with us, I'll just update you on the poll as well. The top topic this evening has been, have Manchester United improved this season? And the options are yes, things are on the up. No, just as bad as last season. And I'm still on the fence. 28% of you are still on the fence, and no, it's just as bad as last season, is still stuck at 4%. I think that was just pure sabotage on that side of the vote, to be honest. Yeses, things are on the up, is 68%. Creeping up to 1,000 votes on that as well, everybody. So keep that coming in, people, as well. Let me know your thoughts on that. Don't forget, everybody, we'll get the mods to drop the link to Match Bingo into the chat as well, everyone. In fact, I'll just link it up there anyway. More on that right at the end of the show, but grab them tickets now. Click that link, deposit money into your account now, and get it boosted by 100% instantly, giving you a great chance to win. Match Bingo, our match day sponsors, everyone. Get on that now. That is pinned. Steve says Lamens is more introverted than Schmeichel. Reminds me more of Van der Sar, and I am more than happy with that. Yeah, I'll say, Steve, mate. Give me an Edwin all day, every day. In fact, if you were asking me which goalkeeper I would bring back out of many Man United legendary goalkeepers, I would pick Van der Sar. I love Schmeichel. I loved him to bits. He was my goalkeeper growing up as a kid, near enough. I'd seen out Les Sealey and Jim Leighton in my early Man United years. And then in came Schmeichel. And the Premier League era was dominated in the 90s by United and Schmeichel. The characters we had in that side, oh, God, it takes me right back. They were proper men, by the way. But yeah, I would take Edwin all day long. Graham Wild, yes, someone replying to Graham here, Mark, actually. It is very hard for them growing as well. We have Johnny Evans dealing with young lads going out on loan. This is a big difference at the academy. I've talked about that before myself, and it's good to see Mark and Graham having that conversation in the chat there, because Johnny Evans is playing a key role with the academy. He may laugh off the job that he's doing and think, oh, it's just jobs for the boys. It really isn't. It's key that these academy players get the right loan deals away from Manchester United, so they can, if they're not going to feature off, say for instance, we kept Casemiro, we kept Harry Maguire, like we've discussed already, and the academy players don't come through, but Casemiro and Maguire might be going the season after. Them academy lads need loans at the right type of club, and that's where we have fallen as well at Manchester United over the years. We haven't given our academy players the right, I don't think the right football clubs to go and progress at when going out on loan. I think it's been scattergun again. Football structure is everything. And when I knew that Ineos were building a football structure at Manchester United and bringing in football people, I knew straight away it wouldn't be long before we started to see improvements. And we are seeing it throughout the football club. So far, we are getting better. Look, at a win at weekend, United are in the top 4. That's the scary thing for a lot of people. And then it's like, right, okay, 9 games in, back end of October. This is when you are supposed to be saying that you look at the table and you really take it serious. And if United are in the top 4, then you've got to take it serious. And that's the facts. They're the facts. Like, Brighton is a tough game for United. It's one of our toughest of the season. If we get through it, and we're in that top 4 at weekend, then you have to start talking a lot differently. An awful lot, in fact, because you have to really then start talking about where this club could go if they do invest the same way that they have just invested in the last 2 summers, because it is all for the future of this football club, backed up by that academy that we've just spoken about then. So, look, I'm not saying that is job done by any stretch, but look, you can only say what you say every single year. Like, look at the table in October. Then you'll get your movers and shakers, and you'll know who's in the mix. If United win against Brighton at weekend, we're heading into the last week of October in the top 4. You can't ignore that. That's a good start to a season, particularly with what was expected from a lot of Man United fans this season anyway. Jonathan Dayton, legend. How are you doing, Jonathan? Hope you well, mate. I pray we have turned a corner. That Ruben has now got the players understanding the system. Yes, we have some weak points. Perhaps we can address some in January. Going to see more games to know. Going to need to see more games to know. I get that. And I think Jonathan there in the chat is pretty much saying from the poll, he's still sat on the fence. I need to see more, which is totally fair. I get it completely. Mr. Anonymous says that the next phase should be building some tempo in our midfield so can build on play and shift a gear consistently. I say adapting. And this isn't me agreeing with the negatives within the chat either here. It is, I know what's coming this weekend. I know you still got to play the Bournemouths. You still got to go and play the Newcastle away. You still got to go to Goodison Park, not Goodison Park, the new stadium, in fact. You still got to play the really tough games. You still got to go to Wolves, where it's usually notoriously difficult for us, even though the bottom of the league. Leeds United away from home. We've still not been to Turf Moor yet. There's so many different challenges to face Manchester United. Look, I need to see a lot more myself, but I'm not going to ignore what's happening right now. And things that weren't there last season are there now. And that's why I believe a lot more in what is actually happening. So, yeah, I'm going to stick with that. That's my angle on it anyway. Did you all agree with what Jurgen Klopp was saying, by the way, in the Diary of a CEO? That's been released this morning. And this week, Stephen Bartlett was talking to former Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp. And some of his comments are... I've got a few Man United fans rattled. This one in particular was from Jurgen Klopp. The last team that Sir Alex Ferguson won the Premier League with in 2013 was built to fail. It was not a team you build on the future. Now, I'm sorry. A few people have come back on this, and I get where they're coming from, and it does feel like get in your lane sort of territory with Jurgen Klopp. Where the amount of time that Jurgen Klopp was in the Premier League, or that's the few years he was at Anfield, Sir Alex Ferguson won, I think, 7 Premier League titles or something like that? And Jurgen Klopp's won 1. So a lot of United fans are saying Jurgen Klopp won the Premier League once, talking about what Sir Alex Ferguson did wrong. And you can see where they're going with it, can't you? It's a bit ridiculous. But another one was also brought up on Jurgen Klopp, which is why he didn't take the Manchester United job. Because Man United approached Jurgen Klopp. And this is key. And this was around the Sir Alex Ferguson finishing time. Because that's where that quote came from. Because Man United were looking for replacements. And Jurgen was approached. Why did you not take the Manchester United job, says Stephen Bartlett. Bartlett being a Man United fan, obviously he's going to ask that question. Because I was told things in the meetings that I didn't like. We get all the players you want. We get him, and him. And I was sitting there like, yeah, this is not the type of project that I want. I didn't want to bring back Paul Pogba. These things won't work. I didn't want to bring back Cristiano Ronaldo. This won't help. Their idea was to bring the best players to the club, but they would never bring up football. And then a pure football project came along, which was Liverpool Football Club. And he was given the time and the effort probably from the hierarchy at Liverpool to build what he is seen as, in Liverpool's eyes, as a legend of that football club. But again, like Manchester United back in the day, and it just takes us straight back to the start of this video and what I said. If you cannot convince a manager who has got zero credentials in terms of managing at the highest level, if you cannot convince a manager off the back of winning the Premier League and giving him the world, what are you doing? How have you not managed to get that player through the door? This goes back to the Jude Bellingham scenario. How did Manchester United roll out the red carpet for Bellingham and not get him? How did Manchester United sit Jurgen Klopp down and not get him? And Jurgen Klopp wasn't anything when he was being spoken to by United and Liverpool. No disrespect, but you're talking here about coming to the two biggest clubs in the world in United and Liverpool. And United had him first and couldn't get it over the line. How was Man United being run back then? That's the question I would ask. And it takes me back to that Jude Bellingham scenario where United just had people doing jobs that shouldn't have been there, that weren't qualified to do them jobs. Absolutely ridiculous. And in a way, I'm angry about what Jurgen Klopp says, but in a way, it also is a smack in the face with reality as to what Manchester United used to be and how we used to operate, and now look at what we've got. And I would take everything that we've got now compared to what we had back then. I would. I don't agree in the 2013 team was built to fail. I think Jurgen Klopp was talking about that in a way after the title that they won. Because obviously, how can you fail if you win the Premier League? But Jurgen was taking over Sir Alex Ferguson, and he didn't feel like that squad was something he could work with in the future. And there is a part of that I do agree with, from what Jurgen said there. So to be balanced, I do get where he's going with that, and I get what he's saying. But still, it just hammers home the fact that Manchester United were run by absolute numpties. And there's nothing more I can say on that. And that's where I'm going to finish this video. By the way, everybody, I have an announcement to make, and it's not a good one. Really, really annoyed that I'm having to say this, but oh, here we go. Anyone who has bought a ticket for the pub watch-along, I'm afraid we are going to have to cancel that ticket. The venue has backed out on us through different... we don't even need to go into it, but it hasn't worked. And we're having to rethink everything. But to give everybody a bit more time, unfortunately, we're not able to do it on that date, and we're not going to rush people around and change venue and do things like that. It's just too much to organise. But I'm absolutely gutted that we can't actually get it on because of this issue that we've had with the venue. And we just said, look, right, let's give everyone enough time. We'll refund everyone's tickets. Obviously, if you have bought a ticket, then we can just go through the refund situation and get you fully refunded on it. And we will reschedule and do it again with a bit more organisation. But yeah, through gritted teeth, I'm afraid, everybody, and I have to apologise to you all that have bought tickets. We will go through the refund procedure. If anybody needs help with any of that, just DM me on any of the socials, whether it be Instagram or Twitter. They're all in the description. They're all in the bio of the YouTube account there and the channel itself. So go for it, everybody, on there. And again, I apologise. Freaking annoyed at that. I really am, because I was so looking forward to that, but I didn't want to drag this out any longer and trying to make something happen, and then people who bought tickets and organised things and maybe accommodation and travel, I didn't want to do it. So that was where we're at with it. Sorry, everybody, and just contact me if you need any help with everything. Klopp and Jude, both new idiots. We're running us, says Ant in the chat on that last one. And that is our show, everybody. Contact me, and please do get involved in the comment section, everybody. Let me know what your thoughts are on all the topics. And I will see you all tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock sharp. Cheers, everybody. Thank you, mods. Hit up on that link in the live chat now for your match bingo tickets. Get them. Use promo code FUTV. Boost your deposit by 100% now, everybody. Thank you very much. I'll see you all tomorrow morning.